We want to welcome to the program Danielle Wynn. Hello, Danielle. How's everything?
Hey there, everything's really good. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the program. So let's get right to it. You compete in MMA. For those that may be sleeping under a rock, it's mixed martial arts. How did you come up upon the world of MMA?
Actually, I started boxing first for weight loss because I was in college and I didn't have a lot of time to work out, so I started just boxing, and then I decided I wanted to use my legs, and I graduated, and I, went to MMA after that because I had more time on my hands to go and train. But it all started with boxing.
Okay, interesting. I want to stay with boxing for a moment. You mentioned that you used boxing as a way to lose weight during your time in college. Had you been a fan of boxing before you took it up, or is it something that, like you said, you just did just to stay in shape?
No, I met a stranger, and it was a female, and she was like, she was just in such great shape, and she told me she kickboxed. So I was like, oh, I couldn't find anything kickboxing, so I went to the next best thing was boxing. So it literally started out just from a conversation with a stranger downtown.
Transition over now to your current career in the world of MMA and mixed martial arts. What are the biggest differences from training for boxing as opposed to training for mixed martial arts?
I feel like with boxing, you're training more for like a marathon, because it's a lot of rounds, and I feel like MMA is more of a sprint. So it's more that you're trying to get in, get out, do your thing, and whereas boxing is more, okay, I have time, I can take my shots, I can do this, I can razzmatazz things, but I like the faster pace, I guess, of MMA. Is why I prefer it.
Okay, so let's stay with MMA for a moment. So we talked about your background and experience in boxing. Are you trained in any other forms of martial arts, or is it just boxing?
Just boxing, kickboxing. I'm a blue belt in jiu-jitsu.
Congratulations on that. With you having boxing, kickboxing, and of course earning your blue belt in jiu-jitsu, how does all that factor into your training for MMA?
Well, it definitely helps out because everything starts from the feet. Fights start in the feet, so it definitely helps. But I just I feel like everything just starts in the feet. So you gotta know boxing and kickboxing.
Yeah, rightfully so. But the reason why I ask is because with MMA, a lot of champions are trained in BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. What is a typical training regimen like for you when you're preparing for a fight?
Generally, I train 6 days a week, twice a day on most days, sometimes 3 times a day. On Tuesdays, it's the day I ramp up a little bit, and I do about 3 hours a day on Tuesday evening. And then, as the week goes, it's about 2 hours Wednesday, 2 hours Thursday. Then, of course, there's weight training and everything like that, but 2 hours at the gym. Things I can't do by myself, basically. And then Friday and Saturday, I generally just, run, and we have MMA practice on Saturday morning. And I just stay busy, stay working, keep moving, keep my cardio up.
You have a amateur record of 4 wins and 3 losses, and you had a professional MMA fight against Bella Muir. Now, for those that may not be familiar with the world of mixed martial arts, of course, Bella, her dad, Frank Muir, was a long-time fighter in the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Just kind of tell me, just tell me what was that like having your pro fight going up against someone like her?
It really was no different. I just wish I had more time to prepare for it. But we knew what she was going to do. Her wrestling is absolutely amazing. It's good. I obviously it worked against me, and but yeah, we prepared, but still I just didn't have enough time to do it, I guess. But it was such a great opportunity, I couldn't turn it down, and it was an amazing experience. So at least I got that.
Awesome. The fight, correct me if I'm wrong, did the fight take place in Mexico?
Yes, San Carlos, Mexico.
Oh, what was that experience like? Was that near Acapulco? Just tell our audience about the environment of San Carlos.
It's basically, it was a marina. So you had to have either a boat or take a 100 I think it was a 100-kilometer drive to the place. Like, it took us almost 2 hours to get there from the airport. But it's very rural. You definitely want to get good cell service for your phone. I didn't do that, and it was really hard for me to use my phone. I had to stick it to the Wi-Fi. But it's a beautiful place. It was gorgeous. Right on the water, you see all the boats pull up, and people come by and they're cleaning their boats. They have their dogs and stuff, walking them, and it was a really nice experience.
Awesome. Sounds like a place I'd like to visit one day. I want to stay with MMA for a moment. You, as I mentioned, your amateur record was 4 wins and 3 losses. What were some of the differences that you noticed from the amateur and the pro ranks?
Definitely the time limit. That's definitely different. Honestly, I really can't compare because I fought all my amateurs in a cage, and then I had my pro fight in a ring. So I never actually fought in boxing. I mean, I did like a smoker, but I never actually had a sanctioned fight in boxing. So the ring kind of threw me off a little bit because every time I looked, there's a corner, like an actual corner, not like an octagon or a hexagon. There's several corners, but they're small corners. These corners you get like trapped in, and it's like, oh my, they're just everywhere. But that was so I don't really. It's hard for me to compare. It's really hard for me to compare, but. She was definitely, her cardio was definitely more prepared, or better than pretty much most of my all of my amateur fights, the opponents, because she just kept going no matter what.
Okay, well, how many matches do you have to compete in to consider yourself to, like, earn a pro card or to consider yourself to become a professional in MMA?
In my particular state, I think it varies by state, but in Georgia, it's 5 amateur fights. And you have to have a winning record. So if it's like 3-4, you can't do it. You have to get to 5-4 at least. Okay. All right, well, while we're staying with the world of mixed martial arts, the UFC is like the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme when it comes to the world of mixed martial arts. Are there any plans to maybe try to get a deal with, maybe have a talk with Dana White in the future, or right now you feel like you want to compete and go the independent route before you take that step to the UFC? No, I absolutely want to. That's the big goal. Like, I want to get to a big promotion. I want to do the whole thing. I've literally, like, when I first started martial arts, I literally, like, cleared my life out and trained, like, all day just so I could get, the BJJ down, because I started that as an adult, and I didn't have that as a kid or anything. And I would definitely like to reach the highest levels. I mean, this little fight might be a little setback, but I definitely want to reach to the big times.
I want to ask you, for tips for people that want to get into the world of mixed martial arts, what tips do you have for them, not just for women, but just men as well?
For anybody, find a good gym. Don't let somebody, sell you a shack and call it Taj Mahal. Like, do your research, find out who the gym is backed by, who their black belts are, who they get their black belts from for the BJJ, and then, of course, look at the credentials as far as boxing, kickboxing, whatever else they offer. But just because there's so many gyms out there that will just let anyone fight just because they want to fight, and you can really get hurt in this game. When my fight that I had in Alabama, there were several people that had only like 2 weeks worth of experience. I didn't get to the cage until I had 2 years. Like 2 years at minimum, and I still was a little more than that. No, but yeah, just make sure that you have, you have a good gym that's going to care about you, not going to send you in against anybody.
Okay, fair enough. You mentioned about the injuries and how, MMA is a sport where it's a lot similar to boxing. It's all about high risk and high reward. Have you had sustained any injuries or maybe a cauliflower ear or anything that has come with what you've done so far in mixed martial arts?
No, I broke my arm in a fight one time. I broke my arm in the fight. I still won, but I had my face broken in my first fight. But that was more just, you let that heal, you can't do anything about that. But, yeah.
Who are some of the fighters that you really enjoy watching in the world of MMA? Both, it could be male and female.
I actually prefer the female fighters for the most part. My favorite is Joanna Jędrzejczyk. I followed her ever since she fought Carla Esparza. And I mean, I know she has that little attitude, but I just love her confidence, her air, the way. And then she said something in one of her fights. She said she broke her foot in the fight, and she was like, "I break my foot in 3 places. They're going to put it back together." And that's exactly how I felt when I broke my arm. And then, of course, I have a special place in my heart for Paige Van Zant, who fought with a broken arm. And she didn't win, but she still pulled through and tried. I mean, it's difficult to fight with a broken arm. I can only imagine at that level. So I definitely have a special place in my heart for her. But, yeah, it's definitely the female fighters I definitely pay more attention to. I do like the males as well, but, I mean, obviously it pertains more to me when it's a female.
Again, Danielle, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the program. Just tell everybody, the listeners, real quickly, where can they find you on social media? And if you have a website, let them know that as well.
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Danielle Wynn, and I have a Facebook MMA page, Danielle Wynn MMA. I also have a Instagram, Danielle_Wynn_fighter. So I definitely want to get my Instagram followers up. That would definitely help me out in getting fights, and I, just want to put out and get out there and do my thing.
Danielle, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.